Hello, I'm Charlie Conroy, and today I will be talking about what the Bears will be doing this offseason, including the players that they should draft and the top free agents that are available that I think would fit the Bears the best. Also, I will show what the Bears roster will look like before this season, and I also interviewed a Hersey coach to give his input on what the Bears should do. So yeah, let's get right into the video. The first position I will be discussing are the running backs. As the running back one, I have David Montgomery, who got 849 yards this season, which is a decline from last year, but he had an injury and was out. So, I mean, that's pretty good for having an injury for about, I think it was 5 weeks. So, yeah, he did pretty good. Had 225 rush attempts, which is a lot still for being injured. So they gave him the ball, but when you're in a Matt Nagy offense, I just don't think you're going to get a lot of yards. So let's see what happens with the new offensive coordinator this season and see if he schemes a lot with David Montgomery, but also with Justin Fields running. Who knows what could happen. And also they have Khalil Herbert, who's the running back too, who they drafted out of Virginia Tech, who is also really good. He'll be like a running back too. And then Tariq Cohen will be back. He will be playing. He's usually a receiving back and punt returner. So yeah, those are my top 3 running backs for the Bears this offseason. A quarterback situation, I have Justin Fields as the quarterback 1. After a rough season, 159 completions after 270 attempts. That's rough. 1,870 yards thrown, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. It's a rough season, but when you're under a Matt Nagy offense, I just don't expect a lot from you, just like David Montgomery. I just don't expect a lot in that situation. So he can probably bounce back after they got Luke Getsy as the offensive coordinator, as they can build around him. I just think he'll have a lot better of a season, and people will see the true colors and see that he's actually pretty good. And then quarterback 2 will be Nick Foles. He's on contract. There's no need to get a new backup quarterback. There's just no need. And then the quarterback 3, Ryan Willis. I don't think he will play ever unless it's preseason. For the wide receiver position, the Bears only have one wide receiver signed to the active roster, who is Darnell Mooney, who had 1,055 yards season, which is very good. 9 drops, not that good. 140 targets, which is fairly good. I mean, he played with like 3 different quarterbacks, but he's probably used to that by now after playing with 2 seasons with the Bears. But Justin Fields, as the offensive coordinator, comes in, I think they will both improve, and they'll become a great connection. Allen Robinson, 410 yards, not that good. I mean, you didn't expect a lot out of him. You could already tell when they franchise tagged him, he just did not want to be on the Bears anymore, and he's gone. They're not going to keep him. Damiere Byrd, 329 yards. I expected that. I did not expect him to have like a 1,000-yard season. Mediocre. Marquise Goodwin, same amount, like 313 yards. Not that good. 40 targets. I mean, I just don't expect them to re-sign him. But with only one wide receiver on the roster, they're obviously going to have to sign some new players. So I think the top option would be Mike Williams from the Chargers. 1,146 yards season, really tall, splitting time with Keenan Allen. So I think if he goes on a different team, he'll be a lot better. And with Justin Fields, I think he just needs a lot more targets. So yeah, if Justin Fields has more wide receivers to throw to, I think he'll be able to play better. So yeah, I think, with Matt Nagy, the wide receivers didn't really do that good. So I think the Bears are draft in the 2nd round. I think they will get David Bell from Purdue. Had 1,286 yards season. He played really, really well. He's a great player. I just don't think he's going to go in the 1st round. I hope he doesn't. And if he's there for the Bears, I really do think they should take him because they need a wide receiver. And I just don't see them signing another wide receiver. So yeah, I think that should be the Bears wide receiver core. Mike Williams at wide receiver 1, Darnell Mooney at wide receiver 2, and then David Bell at wide receiver 3. As he progresses through the season, we'll see how much better he gets. And yeah, that's for the wide receiver position. The tight end number 1, I have Cole Kmet. He had 612 yards last season. Improvement from the season before, 2020. He only had 243 yards. So he's improving, he's progressing, which I like to see. He's also a pretty good blocking tight end. So I think, yeah, he'll improve overall next season with a new coach. Let's see how he does. I don't think it's too early to give up on him, to be honest. He's only in his 2nd year, and it takes a while for tight ends. to expand and get better. So, yeah, I really do think he's going to be a good tight end. I do not think he will be bad. And he's just going to keep progressing. I think they have Jesper Horsted as a tight end too. Jimmy Graham. His contract is up, and I think he's going to finally retire. So, yeah, I mean, that's their tight ends. They might sign a new tight end. But, yeah, I think Cole Kmet's going to be the tight end one overall.
Offensive and defensive line. Bad, mean, nasty offensive and defensive linemen before you draft anything else. Because those positions will make everybody else look better, not the other way around. Yeah, there you go.
For the O-line position, I have as a center, I think the Bears will get Ryan Jensen. Sam Mustipher was the center before, but I just don't see him being good. I mean, he had a rough season. Didn't play. I think he was the worst player on the O-line this season. I say they keep James Daniels at guard. They get Ryan Jensen at center from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With Brady gone, I just think, I don't know if he's going to want to stay there, and they might not want to re-sign him. So I think they should get him. And then Larry Borum at tackle. Cody Whitehair at guard, and then Tevin Jenkins at tackle. Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum, both rookies. Tevin Jenkins had a back injury last season, so I think he will be all fresh and good and ready to go. Larry Borum played pretty well for a rookie. He went up against TJ Watt in like one of his first games, so I mean, that's pretty good for a rookie, and he did a really good job. I think the Bears need to more focus on this O-line, but I think this will be pretty good and make more improvements next season. But as this will be a good line for Justin Fields, and I think they could hold up pretty well. So, yeah, I mean. Okay, now we will be talking about the defense, but the first position I think the Bears on defense that I will be talking about is the defensive line. I think the Bears will have Robert Quinn, who is still on contract, who after having a 19-sack season, which was really good. Eddie Goldman, he did all right this season. He didn't do that good, but he's still on contract. And they're paying him a lot, so let's see how he does. If he doesn't do that good, then they can address that the next offseason. And then Akeem Hicks, I think they should re-sign him. He said he wanted to retire as a Bear. I think he will. And if the Bears re-sign him, that'd be great. And then Khalil Mack is back after having a 6-sack season. After an injury, he got it against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he will be back. For the corners, Jalen Johnson is my cornerback one. And then I think the Bears should sign Casey Hayward from the Raiders. Very good season. Played really well with the Raiders after having a tough season, a tough loss in the playoffs. They still played really well, but a lot of things going on behind the scenes for them. And then I have Kyle Gordon from Washington, who also played really well for Washington College. He's a really good corner, and he's supposed to go in the third round, so that's who I think the Bears will get in the third round. Then I have Roquan Smith, who was in second team All-Pro this season. Deserved number one All-Pro, but they keep snubbing him from the Pro Bowl and all that, so yeah. And then Alec Ogletree as the second linebacker, who did all right this season. I just don't think that's the most of their needs, and he played all right. They don't need to replace him. So yeah, and then I think Eddie Jackson, who played pretty good. I mean, he played all right. He still hasn't been the same since 2018, but they got to keep him because they signed him to a big contract. And they had Sean Gibson at strong safety last season, but I just don't think he's that good, and I don't think they should re-sign him. I think they should get Quandre Diggs from the Seahawks. He was really good, and it just seems like he played really good, and he'd be pretty good in the Bears after they need an upgrade for that position. So if the Seahawks don't re-sign him, I think he's a good option. And also for the Bears corners last season, Kendall Vildor didn't play good. They could also keep Thomas Graham, who played pretty good last season, and he's a rookie, so they could test him out at corner too for them. But yeah, the Bears corners last season did not play good except for like Jalen Johnson and Thomas Graham. That's about it. So yeah, I think that's the Bears defense. It should be on an uprise after hiring a defensive coordinator as their coach. So yeah, the defense should be good. And yeah, they also signed the safeties coach for the Colts as their new defensive coordinator. He will be calling the plays. And they also switched to a 4-3 base defense after being in a 3-4 last season. So maybe hopefully things can improve on the defense. Sean Desai left the Bears. So he will not be the defensive coordinator anymore. He was actually very good, and he helped Robert Quinn get all those sacks. So good luck wherever he goes. And yeah, I think this Bears defense could improve, and I think they will improve, and they could help out the offense. And if the offense and this defense comes together, I think this team will be very good and has a chance at the playoffs next season. And the NFC is truly wide open right now. Aaron Rodgers could be leaving the Packers. I mean, the only hard team probably to go against is the Rams right now and the 49ers. But, so let's see how Trey Lance does next season. And that's about it. I just don't see a lot of teams being that good. But if Aaron Rodgers stays, the Packers are still going to be as good as they are. But yeah, that's about it. Let's see how the Bears do. This is my Bears offseason predictions, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.